political parties contribute to the health of national politics. A former president of Kenya used to say, siasa baya, maisha baya, meaning poor politics and impoverished lives are companions. And of course, Kenyans attach great importance to politics. Last year we had 2 presidential election petitions, and we are already preparing for our 2022 elections. I can assure you there will be a presidential petition. Stay tuned. Now, the requirements, our constitutional requirements, that's in the national constitution, are very high for political parties. Just to give you examples, the political parties must have a democratically elected governing body. They must incorporate good governance, that is regular, fair and free elections within the parties. I'm not talking about national elections. I'm talking of elections within the parties. The parties must be non-violent, and they must not be involved in bribery or corruption, etc., etc. That is in the national constitution. Now, the institutions which are involved in resolving disputes within political parties are several. They are listed there, and I will not dwell on them because I would like to go to the next slide, which is more significant. It's the jurisdiction of the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal. The tribunal resolves disputes between members of a political party. If there are 2 members who are members of a political party and they have a dispute related to the party, then they can come to us. Then the other one, B, is between a political party and a member, because a member could have a dispute with his or her political party. Between political parties, between independent candidates and a political party, between coalition partners, if there are 2 or 3 political partners who have formed a coalition and they have a dispute, they could bring those disputes to us. Now, the third one, the F, is appeals arising from decisions made by the registrar of political parties. In Kenya, we have a registrar specifically for political parties. That office does nothing else. It's just for political parties. That is how important we consider political parties to be. And disputes arising from decisions that office has made can be appealed to our tribunal. And then there are disputes from political party primaries. Now, where I have put a red star, the law requires that before persons or complainants come to us, they must first exhaust IDRM. So, what is IDRM? It's another name for Alternative Dispute Resolution, ADR. Each party has within now its own constitution or regulations a mechanism for resolving disputes internally. Now, that typically involves negotiation, that is the most common method of resolving disputes. Mediation, where a third party helps the parties as they negotiate. Then there are various tribunals, disciplinary committees, including in-house appeal mechanisms. Finally, there is arbitration, but this is quite rare because arbitration, as you know, is time-consuming, it costs money, and it fosters disunity. The structure of PPDT, we have got 7 part-time tribunal members, all of whom are competitively recruited. The chairman is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with over 10 years experience, so he or she is suitable to be a judge of the High Court of Kenya. It has a CEO and a secretariat, and appeals of our decisions are taken to the High Court. Funding is from the judiciary primarily, but we also have got foreign donors, that is, for example, IDLO, UNDP, IFES, and others. Our contribution: promotion of democracy and rule of law in political parties and in national politics. We also promote ADR, or IDRM as it is called in that context, and that way we help prevent needless breakups of political parties, because when political parties are fragmented into many small ineffective units, then they don't become effective. Last year, because it was an election year, we had 540 cases, which we decided within a period of about 3 months. We were working 25/7, not 24/7. We had 2 panels, but we really were working very hard. Late into the night, we held hearings at 10 o'clock, 11, midnight. In some cases, as we approached our respective deadlines, because we had 2 deadlines, applications would be filed 3 days. 3 days. This is the way I was taught to count by my mother. I know some people count 3 like this, but I was taught like this. We had 3 days from receiving the claim to giving a reasoned decision. 3 days. And that meant within the 3 days, the respondent or respondents had to be served. We would conduct a hearing, write a decision, and give it within 3 days. That's how hard we worked. We don't think it is healthy. It should not be repeated. We don't recommend it for anybody. The tribunal was fast and cost effective, and it led to a reduction of cases which would have otherwise clogged the High Court, which in any case had many cases related to elections coming directly to them. Then there were irregular mergers and dissolutions of political parties. Those disputes came to us. And then I'll go straight to the last point there. In Kenya, political parties get funds from the central government, so they are partly publicly funded. And when coalition parties receive those funds or those windfalls, they always fight a bit about which political party will get what percentage within the coalition. Now, I'll go to something here which is interesting, and it's missing in action. There were 3 categories of disputes which were never referred to us. One, which I've not listed there, is to do with Chapter 6 of the Constitution. I wish there were more applications from people saying the person nominated for the post of Member of Parliament, of Woman Representative, of President by my political party does not fit the bill with respect to Chapter 6 of the Constitution. That is to do with integrity. I wish we had more of such cases with evidence, because we would have dealt with them. Now, the other category of missing in action is the gender agenda. Our Constitution provides that no single gender will have more than 2/3 of the posts. Now, youth, women, and disabled and minorities actually fought for their rights. But when it came to the gender agenda, the women avoided enforcing the gender rule. Nobody came to us as a tribunal saying, my political party is breaching the national constitution or its own constitution by breaching the gender rule. Now, the other missing in action kind of dispute is coalitions. Apart from coalitions coming to us when they were sharing the loot from the public coffers, they would rather die than open up their disputes to the tribunal or even to courts. They are always fighting within. And this is a great threat to democracy in Africa, because the strength of the smaller parties can only be enhanced through coalitions. But when they fight and break apart, then we lose a great potential for change in Africa. Now, the challenges, we have had several challenges. I will not dwell on those. In closing, I will say that there are other models. One is from South Africa, where there is a strong system of internal management of political parties, including resolving disputes. There is also the case of Mexico, which has a permanent court for resolving election and political party disputes. Now, is Kenya's PPDT model fit for export to other African countries? You tell me. You are the lawyers of the continent. Thank you very much.